right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. A beautiful, absolutely beautiful Wednesday afternoon here in the Deep South where college football is king. And on the plains of Auburn, the battle cry is War Eagle. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger. War damn Eagle. Big weekend, huge weekend. Even though it's an 11 o'clock game in Columbia, South Carolina, Auburn taking on South Carolina. I did a video earlier today where we talked about, whether Auburn can turn the corner, all of those different things, kind of put everything together, coming into this week. But I think a big factor in Auburn putting it all together is continuing to be solid in the run game. I think Auburn did a really good job with utilizing Tank Bigsby, DJ Williams, and also adding Bo Nixon to the mix in creating some imbalance with the running game. I think another thing that Auburn is definitely going to have to do is between 20 to 20, and I'm talking about yard lines for some of you amateurs in football. I'm talking about the 20-yard line, your own 20-yard line, and the opponent's 20-yard line. Auburn does a great job of moving the ball in between there, but things tend to stall to where Auburn has to kick field goals. In this game, I think South Carolina is going to be one of the more athletic teams that Auburn will play down the stretch. And I think cashing in on those touchdowns early in the football game is going to pay huge dividends because I think South Carolina is pretty good. They have a pretty athletic football team. At the same time, they are mistake prone. They are have been seen to give up big plays. And Tank Bigsby, DJ Williams, and let's just say if Auburn gets Shaun Shivers back, also with Bo Nix, maybe even getting Eli Stove back, this could prove to be a problem for South Carolina. A lot of folks don't know that these guys were out against Arkansas. Shaun Shivers didn't play against Arkansas. Eli Stove did not play against Arkansas. So we're going to see not only if those guys come back and what kind of effect that they will have against, I think, one of the more underrated, talented teams in the SEC. They play very well up front. They do tend to get a reasonable amount of pressure on the quarterback. They defend the run okay. They do have some mix-ups in the secondary to where they do give up some big plays from time to time. But I really like this South Carolina team. This is one of those teams that I didn't pick that Auburn would lose to this team, but I thought this would be a team that Auburn would have trouble with. They're going to be well coached. Will Muschamp and Travaris Robinson both have had stints at Auburn. Matter of fact, Travaris Robinson was a safety at Auburn. That's where he met up with Muschamp during his first tenure as a defensive coordinator. Then, after which, he took Travaris Robinson with him to Florida, and then they had the brief stint at Auburn under the Gus Malzahn regime, and now Will Muschamp, the head coach at Florida, and Travaris Robinson, defensive coordinator. Big shout out in War Eagle to Travaris Robinson for continuing his career. Very good football player at Auburn. Very respectable football player. Has had a great career in the college football coaching ranks. So what does Auburn have to do? What does Auburn have to do to get themselves on the right track? Well, number one, you can't negate experience. These guys are inexperienced in a lot of ways, especially in the secondary on defense. That's why they give up so many big plays. That's why they find themselves so out of position. And even some of the veteran players are out of position because of injury. Auburn absolutely has to have Jalen Simpson back. Would love to have Marco Domio back. And really start to, I think the defense really needs to simplify this thing. I think Kevin Steele is so accustomed to having experienced players that he's coming up with some, really, I wouldn't say difficult packages, but some packages that I don't think these guys have caught up with. Now, I will say in the second half against Arkansas, he really started to make things a little bit more simple. He really started to kind of close in on the middle where Arkansas was able to get those little flip plays, those little laterals to keep these guys that are so excited, so fast and out of position. That's what you got to do against South Carolina. You got to keep everything in front. Another thing that I'm seeing as a trend in the Southeastern Conference defensively is teams are getting beat like crazy on the perimeter. I'm talking about these flip passes, these screens. letting the running back buy a little time, and then the quarterback welcomes the pressure and then just dumps it off. These defenses in the SEC are really going to have to play a lot more discipline because they're getting beat off of simple stuff. Just like Auburn, just getting beat off of simple stuff. This game against Arkansas, in my opinion, I get it. Auburn got the whole Bo Nix. I don't know why the hell he would spike the ball backwards anyway. Nobody knew. I want all the fans to ask themselves, did you know at the point of attack that Bo Nix threw the ball backwards? Nope, you didn't. But then when you saw he threw the ball back, you're like, oh shit, let's, woo. But the referees blew the whistle before the play ended, and that's where we are. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. And for all my SEC fans, I'm not advocating that Auburn should have won this game based on the officiating's outcome, because it was really a bad call. But I think it was one of those bang-bang plays to where nobody really knew what was going on. The referees blew the whistle and did not give a chance for the play to play all the way out. And I think that will set precedent to where when there's a play like this, to let it play all the way to the end, and then that way you can make a decision based on every element of the play involved. Because there was so much going on with the play. You got the backward spike, you got the fumble exchange, then you got the opportunity for the other team to recover the fumble. Who's to say if Auburn had known it was a fumble, they would have been a little bit more aggressive in recovering. It was just a lot going on in that particular play. But let's go back to my man Tank Bigsby and DJ Williams. These guys have the opportunity. If they can be consistent, if they can really do a good job of helping to max out the offense's potential, I really like what they can bring to the table. DJ Williams especially, you could tell that DJ is nursing a nagging injury. It doesn't seem to be anything serious, but he's nursing a nagging injury that he's probably good for about 5 or 6 plays. And then his upper, what I'm thinking is it's his upper, the back portion of the upper part of his leg, the back part though. And it's tightening up to where he, you got to straight, like you probably, we haven't seen camera footage on it, but he probably has to stretch that thing out. And I'm going to tell you, I had a similar injury. And when I tell you that thing is nagging and painful, I mean, he's probably going through a lot, but he's going to keep pushing through. But if he ever gets fully healthy, this is going to be a really dangerous backfield for the Auburn Tigers. But I really expect DJ Williams is a different kind of true freshman. You can tell he's really worked out. He's even been seen with former Auburn Tiger Brad Lester going through some workouts, to where I think this guy is going to be a freaking beast as a running back for the Auburn Tigers. That's going to be the key as to whether Auburn can separate themselves from being middle tier in the SEC to actually position themselves to possibly compete for a championship. Right now, not nearly on the level of Georgia. Those guys have the best roster, in my opinion, in SEC and college football. So don't even worry about that. But Tank Bigsby and his consistency, his ability to protect the football, is going to go a long way as to whether Auburn is going to be successful down the stretch and give themselves an opportunity having to face Alabama and Texas A&M at the end of the year. But they got to win these in between. And South Carolina is going to be one of the toughest games. And also Tennessee is going to be one of the toughest games that they will have to face, because these guys are really, really good, really, really talented. All right, guys, go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Definitely going to have to be able to rely on the running game to create some balance. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.